We're rolling.
All
We're
right.
good. More in the Voice podcast. I got Mr. Michael Taylor with me today, man. How you doing?
Very good. Very
Yeah.
good. It's an absolute honor to be here, brother.
Well, thank you. And this episode, for y'all who are listening, this is on film. Michael bought the crew. Fellas are in here chilling. They got the lighting right. It's good. So he's doing his thing. I'm doing my thing, and we putting it together.
All right, sir.
I'm not good on video, but I'm good on audio.
As long as there's melanin popping, brother, you're gonna be good to go. You're gonna be all right.
That's right. So what's happening? What's good? Tell me about what's going on with it. First of all, let's tell people what the Theater Corner is.
Theater Corner. So I'm the host, director, and producer of Theater Corner, and Theater Corner was born 3 years ago. Actually, our 3-year anniversary was just the other day.
Right.
And it came about from when I was voted onto the board at the Old Globe Theater here in San Diego, and I've been going to the Globe for a while, and always noticed that when I go into the audience, there's probably like a handful of people
Right.
that look like me
Right.
sitting in the audience, and so now that I'm directly involved at the time, Theater Corner was my own little effort to kind of let the Black community know that there are actually Black actors performing on the stage.
Right.
People have a certain perhaps misperception of what's going on at a theater like that. The idea of it's elite and things like that. But there are incredibly talented Black actors performing there all the time, thanks to the artistic director, Barry Edelstein.
Right.
He takes inclusion and diversity quite seriously, and he's not just talking about it. He actually does it.
Right.
I think one of the big examples of that is he did Hamlet, and it was a brother that played Hamlet.
Right. Right.
Grantham Coleman, and he killed it.
Yeah.
But these are some of the things that Barry makes happen. Giving every persons of color opportunity
Right.
to perform on the stage and perform in Shakespearean pieces. So we started Theater Corner. It was actually a print series when it started, and thanks to our relationship with Chida over at the Voice and Viewpoint.
Right.
She helped us get the articles published in Voice and Viewpoint. We'd sit down and interview the actors and take the transcripts, and that's what was published, and with a few photos.
Right.
We started this thing with our star videographer, Trevor Newen-Swander.
Trevor's in the house.
Yeah. He should actually come step over here, and just so people, he's always in the background. No one ever sees Trevor, but he's incredibly sharp guy, and we put our heads together, and we birthed this thing, and we had one interview with J. Bernard Calloway.
Mm-hmm.
We thought, just for the hell of it, why don't we just videotape this thing?
Right.
And just see what it looks like. And from then on, Theater Corner became a video series.
That's right.
And it's just evolved over time. We've gotten sharper and sharper in how we present it and how we record it, how we package it. It's been quite an evolution.
Right.
Over these 3 years. First, we were just interviewing actors at the Globe, and now we're all over California.
That's right.
We've gone as far north as San Francisco. When we interviewed L. Peter Callender at the African American Shakespeare Company up there in San Francisco. We go to L.A. a lot. We've had an opportunity to interview some recognizable names, I'd say, like Felicia Rashad and her sister, Debbie Allen, and Marcus Henderson from the movie Get Out.
Right.
Wendy Raquel Robinson. She played the principal in the Steve Harvey Show.
That's right.
Yeah. How about that?
That's right.
And it's primarily folks of color.
Yeah.
That we showcase, but we've had some other folks like Barry Edelstein. I've interviewed Barry Edelstein and actually had an opportunity to interview Hal Linden.
Is that right?
Hal Linden, Barney Miller.
Yeah, Barney Miller.
Barney Miller. So when I tell millennials that I've interviewed Barney Miller, I just get this glazed over look,
What is that?
But folks like
that was one of my favorite shows. My dad stayed on Barney Miller. That was one of my shows. That was Ron Glass.
Yeah. So he was in San Diego. He performing at the Globe stage. He performed in a Steve Martin piece.
Okay.
Picasso at Le Pound Gilles. And so after the run of the show, he stayed in San Diego. He starred in a film called The Samuel Project, and we got a chance to play golf together, and he agreed to the interview. So he actually allowed us to come on set with The Samuel Project, and we interviewed him right there on the set before he went on, and. It's cool. It was pretty awesome. This guy's at the time, I think he was like 86,
right?
Something like that. He's still playing golf.
Wow.
Still performing. He's been a performer pretty much his entire life.
Yeah.
Kind of pretty impressive. So, yeah, that's sort of what Theater Corner is. Just an attempt to kind of normalize. The idea of going to theater, just as normalized as it is when people are sitting thinking of what they're going to do. It's a second thought. There's no second thought to like, okay, well, we'll go to the movie theater,
right.
or something like that. There's no hesitation. It's a normalized consideration.
Or a concert.
Yeah, or a concert. So this is kind of like. What we're trying to achieve with Theater Corner, just kind of get it's a long-term effort, but just to get Black folks more perhaps interested and focused on theater, because there are some great talented Black folks on the stage doing some amazing things, and they're representing, so might as well get folks out to support them, basically.
Yeah, I think that's what attracted me to want to sit down and talk to you because, all the years of working in the performing arts on behind the scenes, and the box office aspect of seeing who's coming in the door and who's buying the tickets and who buys what tickets to what type of shows and how the shows are marketed, it was a thing to where I always felt like that, like why is there this stigma that theater or performing arts, period. I mean, it will take it all the way over to ballet or anything like that. Why? What has made this to seem like it's inaccessible to Blacks when it's accessible? I mean, everything's expensive, but this was one of the things that was always perplexing me. It's like what especially when we have giants in theater throughout all of history. Right. You know what I mean? If we go back to Paul Robeson, or
certainly,
what is it that made what is even in this age, making that still be this way of thought, you know what I mean?
Well, I think it's also important that people have got to see themselves on stage as well. See folks that look like them on stage,
right.
to kind of help in making it like a welcoming space. That's important. Just like folks of Hispanic descent, they need to see themselves on the stage.
Yeah.
And the same with Asian folks. They need to see themselves. It needs to be a welcoming space, as it should be. I mean, this is theater. It's for the public. So it should represent. It should represent the public. It should represent the community that it's in. some theaters hit the mark, some theaters don't. You know, and you as you mentioned, you've noticed in terms of the theater's outreach as well. You know, if it's if it's the Black community that a theater is trying to develop a relationship with, you know, when are they reaching out to that Black community? Is it when they have a black play,
right?
And they reach out and advertise, you know, or are they reaching out for all of their plays? You know, if they're putting on Shakespeare, are you advertising as robustly as you are when you put on a Black play? If you are, then that's genuine relationship, a step towards a relationship building.
Right.
If you're not, you know, then just occasionally advertising when there's a Black play, then that's people aren't stupid. It's, you know, it shows that you're.
It's like politicians.
It's not,
it's like politicians coming to church at the election cycle.
There you go. They're around election time. They show up during election season. You know, so people notice these little things. You know, it's so if you're only going to do that when there's a Black play, you shouldn't do it. You probably shouldn't do it at all. If a relationship is what you want with all of the community, then have a relationship, a consistent, genuine, organic relationship with all the community. Then do that.
Yeah, that takes work.
Yeah.
It takes work. It takes work. It takes being humble. Sometimes it takes some people coming in that know what they're talking about and you don't, and you have to be humble enough to make that decision and take that risk.
And if it also helps if the people you have working in the institution if the staff is diverse as well, then you got people coming up with those ideas
right.
to reach out. But if it's not diverse, then perhaps this is part of the problem of how an institution misses the mark.
Yeah.
In terms of developing a relationship with the entire community, you know. So.
Yeah. It's kind of like when you said it, like you have to be able to see yourself. I remember when I was a kid and I used to watch Soul Train, and like I tell people this all the time. I was like, that was like the only time you saw Black people in commercials, like doing everything, like doing everything. You know what I mean? Like it's like that hour Soul Train was on. It was like it wasn't just about Soul Train. It was like the commercials, because the McDonald's commercial, everybody in the commercial was Black. You know what I'm saying? like, you know, but it was that time you look forward to it because you were actually like, oh, I'm gonna see a lot of people that look like me on TV. It's always Soul Train always has people, even in the commercials, that look like me. So again, like you're saying, it's, you know, people have to know that they are on stage and that there's people like them on stage and people following the same dreams that they have or interests that they have. And like sometimes a lot of the issues that you would like to see portrayed in film that are not are being tackled on stage. You know, maybe like there's a lot of issues that are happening in the Black community, the Latin community that maybe, yeah, you don't see it in TV, but somebody somewhere is doing something on stage, someplace,
right.
tackling that or trying to.
Certainly. What's impressive with the Old Globe is their Freedom Bradley Ballantyne.
Yeah.
The director of arts engagement there. That's my brother right there.
Yeah, Freedom's crazy.
that's my buddy. And but they have a program where they actually take theater into the community. And so they're taking Shakespearean pieces and whatnot so folks are able to experience theater where a lot of those people have never even gone to a theater, or perhaps may never go to a theater, and so they're still getting to have the experience. And so this is what the Globe does: takes it to the community centers. They've even taken theater into the prisons. The women's prisons and men's prisons here in San Diego County, and you know they're touching lives of folks that are they're pretty much, you know, feel like they're forgotten about. You know, they're tucked away into
you're in a box.
You're in a box. But here's the Old Globe coming in, and giving them a piece of this experience. Again, a lot of those people may not have necessarily have gone to a theater. And so they're getting a sense that somebody cares, and they're offering them something of substance, experience, and so this is what freedom does.
Let me touch on that.
Yeah,
because I can speak as a person who's had that experience. those type of programs make a difference. They make a difference. They might not make a difference to the whole population, but what does in anything? But it makes a difference to people who are sitting there and they don't see anything but gray and brown. That's it. Whatever. They did it. They didn't do it. They've come to terms with it.
Right.
But they basically live on a football yard that's surrounded by barbed wire and electric gates and the guy at the tower with a gun who's got orders to shoot you if you try to run. And that's your reality. But you're trying to transcend that. So you're asked to transcend the person you used to be in the midst of this place that has no type of creative energy at all except to survive. But you're asked to transcend what you used to be in the dearth of anything that's going to help you transcend what you're supposed to be. And sometimes it's those type of programs that will come in and give a person a spark or make them go to the library and find something that they didn't know or had asked someone to send them in a book that keeps them going to make that transcend. So just knowing that, just acknowledging what you're saying about freedom, about that's very, very important work if we're talking about healing people and healing societies and restoring people. They have to have access to art. It's not going to work without it.
Right.
It's just not.
So that's what's up, and so I sing nothing but praises for freedom and where he fits in there at the Globe, because this brother's doing it. He comes out here from New York and come to the other side of the country and carved out a little space for himself, and he's making a difference. Right. He's making a huge difference.
Yeah. Where do you see Theater Corner going? I mean, I think it's something very vital, and I've watched you over the years. I've seen it expand. What are your plans for the near future, far future?
What we would like to see Theater Corner is on a platform like KBPS.
Yes.
It has that feel where
Yes.
it could fit into kind of a that kind of space, and so we've been recording it for that purpose. We've been keeping a certain kind of consistency, a certain kind of production value, high production value, and so that's where. But we're getting to the point now where we're actually going to launch a campaign here, because I understand it would work best if we had sponsors, because there's quite a bit to putting these interviews on, and this is not my primary job. It's just something that we created on the side, and up until now, all the cost involved with doing these interviews, this is a cost that I've been carrying myself, because I just think it's important that it's done. Right. But to go to the next level, it's going to require some type of corporate sponsorship, and so this is what we will be pursuing here very, very shortly. But that's kind of like a cool goal would be KPPS or any other platform. But that's the one I think that we'll pursue first, and try to pitch it first, and certainly they could always use a bit of diverse programming. Right. I think it would be good for them. But so that's where we're going with it. We're also about to roll out some of the Theater Corner swag. Okay. Some handsome stuff like this.
Got some merchandise on the way.
Yeah. We're about to roll it out to enhance people's lives. Right. Is what that swag is gonna do.
That's right.
So next month you'll see our first commercial. Okay. It's gonna be pretty cool.
I'll be rocking something.
Yeah. So basically, it's just T-shirts, hats, coffee mugs, things of that sort, and then it's also revenue to help keep the show going. Right. So. It's not cheap to have talent like Trevor and Clint, as crew to keep it rolling forward. So it takes a staff, to really make it shine the way it should.
And people underestimate media think they underestimate what it takes to
Oh.
do things. Even if it's something you're just seeing on a website or YouTube, it's like, hey, you know what it takes to design the website, activate the website, keep the website online, keep it going.
Oh,
pay for the
yeah.
domain name. Now you got to build the content. He's going to edit the content. You got
Yeah. We travel with quite a bit of equipment.
Yeah.
Lights and got some of the best audio equipment. The cameras and things. All of these things to make it look like a beautiful production.
Right.
When you're listening to Theater Corner interviews, people don't notice the audio because the audio is good.
Because the audio is good, right.
People only notice the audio if it's crappy,
bad.
then the idea of the audio. But you're listening to it, and that doesn't come to your mind. But there's so many elements that go into making something that's gonna pop.
Yeah. How have over the years artists reacted to being interviewed on a Theater Corner? Like, is it something like welcome? Is it yes?
Oh yeah. A lot of the artists, these Black artists, they like what Theater Corner represents, spotlighting these actors and playwrights and directors, giving them some kind of platform to present what they do.
Right.
It's I don't know of too many other shows that are like Theater Corner.
No.
So it's
not even on PBS or any type of no.
So Theater Corner certainly does feel a void there, and folks show appreciation for that. That's what it is, and so we just hope to keep it going,
right,
and take it to the next level, which is exactly what we're doing, and that's gonna happen.
That's right.
You're gonna turn the TV on one day, and you're gonna see Theater Corner.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm looking for. I want to see it just like I see Jim Cramer and everybody else.
Right.
I want to see it.
So right now it's just internet based. So we have a website, theater-corner.com. So tune in. We do all the social media stuff. So we have an Instagram profile. We have a Facebook page. I would encourage everyone to go to our Facebook page or Instagram and follow us, because these days the number of followers and likes it matters. Whether you want to play the social media game or not, you got to do it.
You got to do it
because this is how you're being evaluated.
Yeah. In
terms of your how relevant your show is or not. So if everyone could do that and encourage their friends to do it, we can beef up the numbers, and so when we do approach television, that's typically one of the first things they look at. What kind of following do you have?
How many people are you attracting?
Yeah. So if folks really appreciate what we're doing, we would appreciate it if they would help us in that area and just try to get the numbers up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's right. Let's talk about the movie. Can you talk about the movie?
So I am a filmmaker also. I started a film production company called NWB Imaging, and this is driven primarily by my efforts and also Trevor. He's a big part of that.
Mm-hmm.
We've done some short films. We've done a lot of corporate video work. We've worked closely with the Black Chamber of Commerce, actually, for their annual galas for the last 3 years.
That's right.
So we do a little work here and there, but the real thing is filmmaking and storytelling. That's what the real core of the operation is. And so our last project that we're finishing up now is a piece that I wrote called Black Sisyphus. Basically inspired by Albert Camus, existentialist philosopher Albert Camus. And I've always kind of been a big philosophy buff, but Albert he's one of my favorites.
Right? Yeah.
He wrote a book called The Stranger in the Fall, and he wrote a book called The Myth of Sisyphus, where he basically outlined his philosophy of absurdism. And, this is, it's always kind of impacted, my way of looking at the human condition.
Right.
And so in his book, The Stranger, he kind of used that book as a way to kind of demonstrate this philosophy. And so essentially, all I'm doing is taking what he did with the book, I'm putting it into motion pictures.
Right.
And it just happens to be black, if that's okay. I've interviewed Marcus Henderson,
right.
Really cool brother. And so I kind of wrote that script with him in mind, and he was cool enough to agree to star in the film.
Right.
And so he plays the protagonist, Jamal, and he also plays Black Sisyphus in the same film. And he's a fantastic brother. He came down from LA a couple of weekends. It took us a couple of weekends to film it. Man, he was so generous, with his time and everything. His career is popping off now ever since he was in the movie Get Out.
Exactly.
And so I just appreciated his willingness to participate. And that dude he's serious. This brother studied at the Yale School of Drama.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was down there the same time my sister Patricia McGregor. They were down there at the same time, and Lupita came out of that program as well. But this brother's a real deal. He's quite sharp, and I really learned there in that project the difference between having a sharp, well-trained actor who knows their skills and everything, and not having one. But it's incredible. This it's just like a small example. This brother, there's a part of the movie where he has to cry.
Yeah.
And this brother just you give him about 30 seconds, he sits and thinks, and there's natural tears coming out. He knows
how to get to that place.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I've seen examples where an actor couldn't get to that place. So it's he's amazing, and he's just a good brother. He's enjoying some success now. He's in Tacoma FD, True TV,
and Snowfall, right?
Snowfall is just rolling out there. I think their second season. So I'm really happy for him. You know.
Would you like to get to the point where you're making like a full feature-length film?
Oh, that's going to happen.
Of course, right?
That's going to happen.
Of course.
Yeah. Right now I'm finishing a script for a pilot that we'll shoot hopefully before the end of this year is out. And it's a pilot for a series that we'll pitch. It's titled The Rain Fell Down. But it's not rain like liquid rain. It's rain as in an entity, a reigning sovereignty.
Right.
Yeah, so it's The Rain Fell Down. And it's going to be fun,
Okay.
We got some weapons and some shooting and some action up in there, to feed that American taste for blood. But it's also it's an insightful thing, almost kind of a what if.
Yeah.
But people will be seeing that real soon. Yeah.
Do you perform or write? I mean, like for stage or anything like that?
No. I don't. I'm all behind the other than theater corner doing the interviews. I don't know. My good friend Shay out in New York, she tells me I act a fool sometimes. But outside of that, that's the limit of my performing.
It's nerve-wracking, man. I've done a couple readings like that. I really admire people who can get on stage and do these things because it's nerve-wracking.
I tell you what's very interesting, and I included sort of this in my first short film. First short film I did was kind of about a young actor, young dude who wanted to pursue acting instead of the family tradition of going to medical school to become a doctor.
Right.
But nonetheless, I had one monologue written into the script. It was kind of like actually paying homage to actors. But interviewing actors, one thing I've learned is that quite a few of them are introverts.
Yeah.
And you brought this up earlier. We were talking before the interview, but it's very interesting. But they're able to get on stage,
perform in public,
in front of hundreds of people, and like James Earl Jones, he's one of the noted introverts that are actors. But this guy can, he gets on stage and he's a beast, in the theater space, and so. It's really quite incredible, and I don't know, people have their own way of describing it, but it just seems like, in my mind, how I put it into film is as if getting on stage is like an escape from themselves, escape from that introvert space to. So it's not actually them out there on the stage. It's putting on the skin of that character.
I can explain it this way. People like that think a lot. Like there's a lot of thoughts going on in their head, and it takes a lot of energy. Like a lot of people like that are like either they're very emotional and they know that, so it takes time. They know it takes time for things to settle in to where their rational mind they've learned to have patience with themselves. But it takes a lot of energy, and then to deal with people takes a lot of energy. Even if you want to, it takes a lot of energy.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And then you need to go somewhere by yourself and recharge. But you can perform in public. You can talk, have conversations, and people not think you're just a chatty whatever, but don't know, like, the minute you're done, you're done. You want to go home and turn everything off and close out everything, and you need to recharge, and it's kind of like that type of thing. But yet again, there is that you can become that thing, whatever it is you're supposed to be, and let the energy just go, I mean, when I do my radio show, I am who I am, but there's a little there's a little more there. You know what I mean? Because there's some parts that you always kind of hide of yourself in public, but you can take the energy and kind of push an extra bit of your persona out.
There's got to be an element of theater, even with what you do. As a DJ, as a radio voice, there's got to be some element of theater there as well. There's got to be some performance.
People underestimate. People underestimate, no matter how much they say they want their news people, their radio personalities, whatever, to be real. They underestimate their need to be performed at. And so, like me here talking to you, this is just, I'm talking. This is how I talk.
Right.
On the radio, I'm still the same person. I still sound the same. But it takes a lot of work to get a precise and engaging message to you in 30 seconds to a minute and a half. And to deliver it in a way that's constant, and to deliver it in a way that takes you away from any problems you have.
Right.
But convey all information, emotion, time, date, the feel, what it is, and put all that into like a 30 seconds to a minute. It takes some performance. It does take some performance, because you think like, oh, he's just talking to me. And I'm like, no, I am talking to you. I am performing to talk to you in the way I know you need to hear it right now.
Right.
If I was just sitting here talking to you, like, it would be drawn out and it'd be non-dramatic, but I'm talking to you in between music. So I have to keep my message to you in the flow of the music that I'm playing, that the mood is putting you in, and convey all this information to you and make you not miss a beat that I'm saying it to you, because you don't want me to sound like an announcer. You want me to sound smooth, and then I'm just talking to you, but that takes, because I don't talk like that all the time. It's not natural conversation before us, how we want things to be perceived to us, how we want things delivered to us.
Right.
We don't realize, like, even in plays and live drama, like, people are acting, but what do? We have to we have to put a certain emphasis on something, because it's a performance. It's being communicated. There's an expectation. So even that dramatic moment, sometimes the moments are not as dramatic as they are in real life. Gunshots on TV are not what they are in real life. In real life, it's like, you might look, what was that? Is someone got off a firecracker? No, that's a gunshot. But on TV, they put this big cannon sound behind it, and you think that's what
movie magic.
So it's the same way with announcing. It is like, we're trying to sound natural, but we have to put some emphasis on it for you to be entertained, because you are, even talk radio guys, that they have, you're listening to him, but you listen to that guy because there's something about him. There's some charismatic quality about him that makes you listen. You know what I'm saying? So, there's a little bit of that even in radio. There's performance and everything, you know.
So sorry, I just flipped it here. I went into interviewer mode.
No, this is what it is. But that's what I told you. That's what this is. This conversation, man. I actually really got this going as part of be therapy for me. It's a part of living life authentically, because I live in this media world, and I look like I look.
Yeah.
And I walk into a room and people can say whatever they want, but I know there's, I've sat in the theater lobby as an administrator and have everybody in the lobby think I'm a security guard because I'm 6'3", I'm chocolate, I'm 260, 70 pounds, and for a lot of people that doesn't fit the mold of someone who works in a theater and administrative capacity. So I look like what I look like, and I am what I am. So this was to help me kind of keep myself to be authentic, because in this, in this world we live in of entertainment, you're always trying to, keep yourself authentic because there's so much drama and production around.
Well, you got that voice. That voice is authentic. I tell you what, it's smooth, and I'm sitting up here, I'm curling up here because my voice next to yours. You got that voice, and that makes me sound like Jerry Lewis or something.
I sounded like this since I was about 13. I had a substitute teacher. I remember her name was Miss Maroney. And she came up to me one day. I was 13. I don't know nothing. And she was like, "You should really go into broadcasting. You should go into broadcast." I didn't know what. I didn't know what she was talking about. I had no idea. But I grew up, my dad, that's all he did. All he did was watch like Phil Donahue and Dick Cavett and this, that. So it became a thing to where I did naturally gravitate to it. And then thank God I had a voice that allowed to open me the doors to get to it.
There you go. Yeah, I appreciate it. And I'm not a psychic or anything, but you might be show up as voiceover on a Michael Taylor production here.
I can do that. I can do that. I guess let me ask you this question, because you're around theater so much, and this is kind of one of the things that's happening around today. Is like, I always talk about a pendulum swing as far as in politics. Like, things are going one way, and if things are not going the way you want, you need to be really careful about the things you complain about. In other words, if things are not going how you want, or the people in power are not how you want, and you might think everything is going bad, your reaction to that might be too much and make the pendulum swing far back in another direction. And what I'm talking about is things such as are starting to happen in entertainment, whether it be theater or TV, to where actual aspects of life are starting to be edited out. Like, people don't want to do plays or performances or shows to where a character smokes. Have you been noticing that? That's starting to happen. It's starting to happen in TV. Starting to happen in theater. I know for a fact it's starting to happen in some theaters here in San Diego, to where even if the character, we're talking life, we're talking drama, and I'm not even talking about. I'm talking about they want to drift away from characters in periods where smoking was smoking, and they're trying to find a way to drift away from showing people smoking because it's. But I'm like, but that's life, and that's what we do in the world we live in, because we're not supposed to be touched by that.
I'm trying to think of the show. There was some theater performance I attended where they used like a e-cigarette, where they're trying to even, and you could see the reaction from the audience reacting to that, especially California audience.
Yeah,
I think if you were in New York. The Black Box Theater in New York, nobody would flinch.
No one cares. No one cares. No one cares.
So I don't know. Perhaps it might be a California thing.
And it's very true, very true. But I think, things start spreading. Especially we live in a culture now to where it's even more terrifying to be a part of the media, because even they saying something good, it could be pegged as bad, and it's all about responses. There's no more time. There's no more time to have a discussion in the world of Twitter and Instagram. There's no more time to have a discussion before someone needs to take action.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. And so it's like, okay, well, we're not going to do that. And it's like, okay, but if you but we just live in this time now where it's just, like you said, those likes, those clicks, those likes, man, those likes turn in. If there's a barrage of someone can get panicky and there's a barrage of dislikes. People can make the decision that we got to cut this right now, and then it ends up 6 months down the road. It wasn't that serious, but we live in this reactionary.
Yeah, but they're actually exploring and they're practicing actually of taking that out where. If you're looking at someone's post, you're not going to see the likes.
Yeah, I see. I think like in New Zealand and a couple other places, it's like that right now. They're really experimenting with that. And I guess it's just a weird frontier. It's a whole new frontier. It's a whole new frontier we're engaging in, right?
So it's weird to sit here and you're asking me like specific theater questions as if I'm an expert or something. But I'm like my background, my actual background is nothing even close to theater.
Right.
Professionally, I'm an archaeologist.
Is that right?
I'm a trained archaeologist. In school, I majored in anthropology and focused on archaeology.
Very interesting.
And so currently, I own an archaeological consulting firm. So that's actually what I do for a living. Which is not exactly like theater.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah,
but that's so interesting.
Yeah, and even like and before that, we have a shared career path of the Marine Corps. That was that's the first thing I did as an adult. My first 13 and a half years of my adult life, I was in the Marine Corps infantry. That's actually what brought me out to California, and I always joke like. When I tell people I'm an archaeologist, they talk about how they had these fantasies of when they were a kid, they've always wanted to be an archeologist.
Yeah, I did.
And such.
I sure did.
And unfortunately, I can't say that. But so I say, if you had told me when I was in the Marine Corps, like, you're going to be an archaeologist one day. My first question would be,
what's that?
How in the hell you spell archaeology? That was
So what, man? How did you get in? So how did you get into archaeology? Because usually that's something like somebody wanted to do since they were a child. How did you get into that?
Yeah, you would think. But I went to school late in life after a Marine Corps career and a career in partial career in law enforcement. And so when I started school, I actually went with the intent. I started with the intent of studying international relations, international affairs. But to fulfill a general ed requirement, I took a cultural anthropology class right here at City College.
City College.
And San Diego City College. And so that one class, it blew me away. That was it, I was able to discover through that class what my passion was, and it's basically like human behavior. What it is that informs human behavior, and then City College just happened to have this incredible archaeology program there, and and archaeology is kind of a subdiscipline under anthro, and so. I got involved with the archaeology program. I started taking those classes, and my mentor at the time, Dr. Steve Buscarin, was teaching the classes, and they would have guest speakers come in and talk to the class, and Dr. Susan Hector actually came to speak to our class once, and I followed her to a car, helped her take her stuff to the car after she talked to us, and she helped me get my first gig as a field archaeologist, working out in the field, and that's where it started there. I started working professionally while I was at City College, helped pay my rent at the time, and transferred to Columbia University, where I continued to study anthro and archaeology. And when I finished there, I came back and, I was pretty old at that time. I was 48 years old when I finished undergrad, so I decided just to start to hang a shingle for myself and started NWB Environmental Services, and we've been kicking for, 7 years now.
I was one of those people as a kid who wanted to be archaeologists. It really got blown out the frame when Indiana Jones came out. But but I just never was able to do that. What is the life of an archaeologist? Sometimes you say archaeology, and I think people's minds automatically go to Indiana Jones or they go to Jurassic Park,
and
one of those two places.
And it probably shouldn't go there because Indiana Jones, from what I could tell, was rather destructive.
Yeah.
With a lot of the artifacts and some of the sites. I mean, there's a lot of destruction going on there, and that's not necessarily what we're trying to do. We're more along the lines of preservation.
That's right.
It's going. And if he's going to destroy it, at least record it first. Put it all in a DPR form and record it first.
Yeah, he was pretty destructive.
Yeah. So that's probably not the best example. But archaeology, professional archaeology, as opposed to academic archaeology, I think a lot of the stuff you see on Discovery Channel and such, this is probably from a university maybe or something that's sponsored, but they're in these exotic places and such. But what my world looks like and professional archaeology is we're what's described as a cultural resource management firm. This type of consulting, and so we kind of basically help clients stay in compliance with like CEQA regulations, NEPA for federal, CEQA, California Environmental Quality Act. This is kind of what dictates the environmental components of projects.
Right.
Like for example, one of our main clients, our largest clients, is SDG&E here in San Diego Gas and Electric, and so we support their operations and maintenance. Let's say, for example, they need to change a utility pole. That involves ground disturbance, So we would do a survey, do an analysis, see if it needs to be monitored when they do the actual construction. Kind of determine the likelihood of artifacts or resources, cultural resources to come up on those projects, and so we're there, have someone on site in case something does come up. We work closely with the Native American tribes, depending on what part of the county that we're in. So yeah, it's kind of it's perhaps the unromanticized version of archaeology. It's maybe it's not as glamorous,
right.
With a reflector vest and a hard hat, standing on a construction site while someone else digs a hole.
Right.
But that's what it is. So I tell people that are interested in archaeology, perhaps don't go so much on what you see on television and actually see what the profession actually looks like. If you're going to be in the middle of the desert, conducting a survey, it's exposed to the elements and such. It's not as sexy as this Indiana Jones character, but it's needed and it's beautiful. It's cool as hell. And I gotta also warn yourself and other people who have these aspirations of archaeology. It requires a very high level of nerdism.
Right.
Levels of nerdism that the normal human perhaps doesn't achieve. So and this is something I'm a blurred. I think this is what they call it.
Blurred, yeah. Trust me. I
claim it. I own it. It's a beautiful thing. It's cool these days.
Yeah. No, I mean I'm glad it's cool because knowledge. It went for so long to where it's like if you had knowledge on the brain, it seemed like it was a strike against you.
In America.
In America.
In America.
Because I grew up, I don't like novels too much, but if you give me a history book or some type of instruction book or some type of, something that's annotated with, what I mean? Like I'm there. Like that's where I'm at, and yeah, when you get to talking about stuff, people are like, yeah, you're just a geek.
But culture is fascinating. Culture is absolutely fascinating, and it completely shapes the mind and the way humans perceive their space. It's all by culture, and I'm just fascinated by culture. That's why You know,
got the
that's for
Wu-Tang.
representing
That's right.
the Wu-Tang, you know, and the academic consensus is Wu-Tang is nothing to F with.
Yeah, that's
is
right.
what I
That's right.
understand.
They're not. There's been news stories.
I can verify that for you. That's the case, you know.
Have you watched the documentary, the Wu-Tang documentary on Showtime?
I gotta catch it.
It's excellent, man. I know there's a movie actually out now, a TV movie, but the documentary is ridiculous, man.
That's what's
it's
up.
all of them. Check it out.
That's what's
so
up.
Look, I know. Let's get ready to wrap this thing up.
Yes, sir.
I only ask you about theater because I know you observe a lot of it. And I know you chronicle the directors and the actors, especially those of color, because it's very important.
And we show up. We do red carpet opening nights.
That's right. That's right.
That's the other thing that we do.
That's right.
We'll show up and roll out the theater corner red carpet and step and repeat and basically, you know, we produce a sizzle reel for that particular show, and you know, it's part of the marketing aspect of the show for whatever theater, and it's fun. It's a blast, you know. And so that's the other thing. It's, you know, theater corner is it's expanding. You know, it's the hip thing.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Well, again, the trailer for Black Sisyphus is up right now.
Yes, sir.
That at Facebook page. It's at ahmedsvoice.com. I have it posted up there. And where should they follow you? Facebook, Twitter, Instagram? All of it?
Instagram, Theater Corner. They just do a search for Theater Corner on Instagram. Same thing, search for Theater Corner on Facebook, and encourage your friends to like us and follow us on Facebook. I do post a lot of my film work, you know, glimpses into my film work on the Theater Corner sites. We also have my film production company, NWB Imaging. We have a website, so a lot of my film work is kind of posted there as well. What we're doing in terms of film. Black Sisyphus will run the film festival circuit with that. Probably have one or two private screenings, but because of the guidelines for film festivals, you can't have it out available throughout the internet to view, because it needs to premiere at any of those individual film festivals.
Do you have an idea of what the first festival, or which is the first festival?
Well, we haven't even submitted it to anything. I mean, it would be grand to submit it to Cannes, something like that. Sundance, you know, might as well start big, start up there, and work our way down. So, we're really happy with the outcome of the film, and one of the things holding up the finish is got brother Kendrick Dial, which appeared on your podcast. So this brother is working on a soundtrack for the film, and it's gonna be smoking. It's gonna be because I mean, Kendrick, he's an incredible talent, spoken word. You know, this dude is just you know, and he's at City College. That's where my heart is. You know, so much so that you know I sit on the board there now, the City College Foundation board.
Okay,
you know, kind of going back to my roots. You know, it's City College means a lot to me. That's where I started. You know, as learned to be an academic. You know, at City College.
It's like an intro to radio class at City College.
In
the early '90s. Yeah,
that's right. And so, this is kind of my giving back to City. I've just recently been voted as the chairman of the board there, of the foundation, and so get a chance to play an active role to support the students that are there now and the students that are coming in the future. Because I you know, a big part of what the foundation does is, you know, scholarships for students to help support student success. And I remember when I was there as a student, you know, those scholarships. Yeah, you know, they come in handy. You know, I can remember getting some of those scholarships, and it, you know, helped me. buy some of those luxurious things in life called groceries.
Yeah.
To help you keep going. Any of those little things while especially when you're going to school later in life. All of those things. Matter. Any kind of help matters. But if students are putting in the effort, whatever I can do to help support, that's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
Look, brother, thank you so much for coming through. Like I said, we're going to do this again. Probably, let's come back let's do this again after Black Sisyphus is officially up and going.
Uh-oh.
Like after we get it, like after it gets done and it's ready to go and get submitted. Let's come back and talk about it.
I'm on board. I am on board.
Thank you again, man. I appreciate it. And everybody, I'll have all the links to the Theater Corner up on the page for this podcast. So please follow, check out the interviews. It's something that's necessary, and it's a breath of fresh air. So please check out the Theater Corner again. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it, man. Thank you, fellas. Y'all ain't seeing film crew up in here. They've been up in here next to these hot old windows.
Right. No, but man, I appreciate the love. I appreciate the exposure, and I appreciate what you're doing with the podcast. It's a beautiful thing. You're interviewing locals here in San Diego, and it's great. It's letting people know who are the major folks, you're doing things.
Let them know what's up.
Yeah. That's awesome, brother.
Well, thank you, sir.
One Marine to another.
That's right. Hoorah.
Very nice.
All right. Talk to y'all later.
All right.